on, everybody? Welcome to episode 951 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by James Dean Rader, Ben Funky Askren. We are in a new place, a new room. It is better than the conference room we were in, but it is not as good as what we will have.
Not our final destination.
It's not our final destination. We will have a big studio in like December, November. We'll see. But this will be our home, the home for FRL for at least the next couple months. So excited to be in here. Excited to be joined by Ben Askren. Ben, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was ready to go yesterday. We had a little false start there. A few people came to practice asking, where's our episode? Did I say something too crazy that they had to take it off the line?
Yes, that's what happened.
What happened?
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. We tried to do a show yesterday. Didn't happen, obviously. Sorry, but here we are today.
Oh, yeah.
Attempt number
Absolutely.
2. And it was disappointing because there's so much to talk about. It was kind of a crazy August news weekend, starting with the coach, all the coaching carousel. But really where we're going to start today is the news about Sammy Sasso. If you don't know, I'm sure you probably do, or at least know something. Sammy was shot in an attempted robbery in Columbus on Friday night, and he had 2 surgeries, and he was in serious condition for a while there. Now he's fortunately been upgraded to stable condition, and actually we've heard from Sammy. He tweeted out, God bless everyone for their support during this time. It's been tough as hell, but we are steadily improving. I can't thank everyone enough for being in my corner. And he's, of course, there's been a strong outpouring from the entire wrestling community of support for Sammy, who is someone that is, truly beloved in the sport of wrestling. I think anyone that knows him or spent any time around him knows he's just a pure wrestling soul for sure, and just a very real person. And so, obviously, our thoughts go out to Sammy and the Wrestling Bucks at this time, but fortunately, it sounds like good news, and Brad Wilson from the Lehigh Valley, great reporter out there, has had a lot of good updates and mentioned that Sammy, the surgeon apparently said that Sammy should have a full recovery and can wrestle again, and even though obviously that's sort of like far from, the most important thing. I mean, as wrestlers and wrestling fans, we would love to see that and hope to see that, and I feel like coming into this year, and Ben, you can, and JD weigh in after this, but I felt like Sammy was one of those guys who coming in was going to be, this is before the Gunshot, was going to be a kind of a fan favorite, a senior you want to see. He's been right there, 2-time finalist. He lost to Yanni, lost to O'Connor, and it's like, man, he'd be someone you'd be excited to see get it done his senior year. Now, can you imagine the fervor for Sammy if he's able to wrestle this year and potentially contend for a national title, which based on his abilities and skill set, he obviously can, but recovery is a thing. But I feel like he is going to be the fan favorite for this season.
I would say that would be the case. I mean, I kind of think he probably already was.
Right.
He's someone that people like, and then someone that I think there's always those things where you want to see the senior win, especially if they've already came close, which he has a couple times. So I would say, yeah, for sure.
And not just came close. You don't hear anybody say a bad word about Sammy Sasso.
Yeah.
Widely liked by wrestlers, fans, coaches. Just seems like pretty much everybody likes him.
Yeah.
And Christian, you said one thing earlier. You said something about it's far from people's thoughts is is he going to wrestle? But I got to assume for him, he's like, well, am I going to live? And then once they're like, yeah, you're good. Then he's like, when do I get to wrestle again?
Yeah.
I don't know him that well, but I, kind of, know him a little bit. And I got to assume that was his second question.
I think you're probably right. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, the fact that the surgeon is talking about wrestling, that's probably not coming up unless, Sammy's like, all right.
He's bringing it up.
Yeah, for sure. So you're 100%
I gotta think that was
right.
actually probably top of mind, for someone like him. It's probably top of mind because it does become such a strong part of you, and he probably does know he only has 1 year of college left, and hey, this is really important to me. When am I gonna be able to do this again?
Yeah.
I assume this would make him eligible for medical potentially.
I mean, yeah.
That's a good assumption, I would say.
You would think.
If this doesn't, then what does?
Yeah, everyone gets a medical for everything. So yeah,
For everything.
I would have to assume yes, he will go get a medical if he wants one or would apply for one. I don't know. I mean, this is sort of uncharted. Like if he tore an ACL or if he had a labrum or something, it's like there's like a precedent for timelines for that. But for a gunshot wound to the stomach, I have no idea. But yeah. So anyway, we're trying to keep y'all updated as more news comes out. There was a tweet from a Columbus reporter here. I'll pull it up quickly so I don't have to. From Kate Seifert. She said new info from Columbus police regarding shooting that injured Sammy Sasso. He was in an alley in the 1400 block speaking with a couple of children when two unknown suspects approached. A confrontation between the suspects and the victim ensued, at which time one of the suspects produced a firearm, shot the victim. Suspects then stole the victim's vehicle and fled the scene. So his car was stolen. Then, in the early morning hours of Sunday, the victim's vehicle was located and recovered in the area of Sunbury Road and Easton Way. Kind of ironic. It's from the Easton area. The vehicle was impounded at the Columbus Police impound lot where it was processed for evidence. So they stole his car. He's in this alley talking to kids, and it's weird. There's a news report with the kids talking. There's literally like an 11-year-old child that was there when it all went down. So sort of a weird circumstances around his robbery. They call it attempted robbery, but if you get the car, I think
you were successful.
You successfully robbed.
I think so.
Now, Sammy, he's got to take up a page out of the Brian Robinson Jr. book. Make the NCAA finals come out to many men.
Yeah.
By 50 Cent.
That would be a good move. We'll see if he does it. Sammy may view that as cliche. Not a cliche guy, so who knows what he'll do. But anyway, very strange. It's just not news you expect. And, a lot of us woke up Sunday morning to texts. It was circulating pretty widely then. And late that night, I had a bunch of missed calls about it. So yeah, glad he's doing well as well can be for his circumstance, and we'll keep you updated.
Nice.
Anything else before we move on, Ben?
Hey, you want to know what just happened to me?
What happened to Ben?
Well, yesterday, one of the things we do once yearly, we compile a list of all of our athletes, right? Self-compiled, so we put out a questionnaire essentially saying like, do you want to be recruited? What class are you in 2024, 2025? What are your grades? What's your ACT? What's your parents' information? What's your all these things, that would be valuable to college coaches. And then we send them to college coaches. So hopefully it makes it easier for coaches to recruit our guys, right? I just got an email back and it said, please take me off your list. And I'm like, oh man, does he not have the job anymore? Like, this is Division I head coach. Like, does he not have the job anymore? And then so I Googled it. I'm like, wait, he's still the head coach. And then so I sent him an email back. I said, I'll take you off my list, but is there a specific reason you don't want to recruit any of my guys?
What'd he say?
So we'll see what he says.
Who is this?
I'm not gonna. You won't tell me stuff on the radio. I don't want to put this. I don't know what he's got against me or against my guys. I'm not certain.
What conference?
It's not a big time school. We'll say that. So.
This man hates winning.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe Wisconsin kids can't get into school. I don't know. I'm not certain on what the reasoning is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please take me off the list.
Take me off your list. Because I have a list of about 40 colleges of, a lot of them are Wisconsin schools. We have a ton of D3s, right? So all of them. And then lots of places where like guys are on the teams at other places, so we've got to know the coaches. Yeah, he said, take me off your list.
Man.
I know, right?
I'm cleaning up that inbox.
I can't wait to
get it.
I'm going to stop this show in 5 minutes just so I can call Ben and find out which coach said this.
Oh, it was, I thought maybe he got fired, but it's on their website right now. He is currently the head coach. So maybe I missed something.
Well, there you go.
That's funny, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of coaching changes,
Speaking of coaching, good segue. Ben is such an industry professional, guys. So, Espo to USA Wrestling. I don't know if we've even got to talk about
this
that
is the
yet.
secret you were keeping the secret last week when we were talking.
This was a few of this. Yeah, the Coleman thing and the Espo thing. Yeah, that's what you were getting on me about.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give it up. I don't
Didn't
squeal,
give it up.
man. So Esposito's going to USA Wrestling job. He was at Oklahoma State for 21 years.
Dude, that's crazy, huh?
That's a long time.
Long time.
He did a great job at Oklahoma State and moving on to USA Wrestling, which it's a great job. Awesome opportunity for Zach. I think he's going to love it there. And that created an opening at Oklahoma State. Zach was the associate head coach. And then Wednesday night, there was a team meeting at UNC, and they told the team that Coleman was going. And then for whatever reason, it took a long time for it to be all out there publicly. We had to wait till yesterday morning. But the stories that were reported Thursday and then retracted were ultimately true, that Coleman was going back to Oklahoma State. So the big news there, one, Coleman's there, but two, it creates an opening at UNC, which is, if you talk to coaches in the, in Division I, they're like, UNC's potential is insane. What that school could be.
Can I push back on that? 'Cause
Push.
I always hate the talk of potential, right? Man, no one's done it there, right? When was the last time they got a trophy in Chapel Hill?
Well, I think it's been quite some time, if ever.
If ever.
Well,
I think maybe they did.
potential
Long
is all about what hasn't been realized. So yes,
Of course.
Okay, so yeah, that's I say potential, and that's
But why?
that's,
Well,
that's
okay,
what
so
I mean.
I'm pushing back on all
Well,
these
allow me to
coaches.
push, repush.
Okay, push. Let's
push,
go.
repush.
Tell me why they have potential. Tell me.
So
Smooth this out.
a couple reasons. One, they have imagine 9.9 scholarships plus Cornell level financial aid. Okay, so the resources and the money they're able to get guys is really significant. They're able to get.
But
they
someone told me Coleman was always complaining he couldn't get guys into school. This is what I have not heard this from Coleman's lips, but I heard it from a good source who was very close to him.
I haven't heard that.
They created a fake class
Hold
for
on.
their football
No,
players.
they did. Don't put that on Coleman and UNC. That's just something that.
That's just something their football program
That's just
did.
some classic UNC.
Well, I'm saying Coleman should have cooked something up there.
They're not letting the wrestling.
If the football program could do it.
UNC is not letting the wrestling coaches cook like that. First of all, second of all, I mean, yeah, they don't get everyone. It's a very prestigious school, but you can get more in than you can for like an Ivy, or even like a Stanford. So I think, yeah, you can't get in everyone. For example, just because Coleman's there now, like who you can get in at UNC versus who you can get in at Oklahoma State. Yeah, that is going to be a different list for sure. You're not going to be able to get in, but you can get in a fair amount. I'm sure there are some recruits that they had to pass on at UNC, but I don't think it's a huge.
It's no Harvard.
It's no Harvard. I don't think it's that big of an impediment. You've got, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, athletic brand in college sports. It's up there.
Okay.
And great location. Have you ever been to Chapel Hill, Benjamin?
I actually haven't. I've been to Raleigh a whole bunch of times and never went to Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill is ridiculous. Have you been?
I've never been.
Oh, it's pristine.
Well, so I mean, okay. So what I was gonna say, I guess so. My pushback would be obviously geographically, it's a nice location and a nice city where people probably want to live. That's positive. Full funding, also positive. Big brand, maybe not a big brand in wrestling, so we'll say a small positive. The conference is okay now, right? The ACC hasn't always been okay. It's better now. So that's like, we'll say a small positive, but, a lot of the best thank God Shane's not here to rage on about the Big Ten. But, that may be impactful to some kids. Good, but not great school, right? So, like, Ivies are better, but it is a good school. So it's got a good mix. But I just feel like that is the case with there's kind of a lot of schools that could kind of fit the bill there, and maybe even some of the Big Ten might be more desirable. And so I think it comes down to, like, do you got a guy in wrestling more than anything? Do you have a guy that can coach? And so you look like NC State, who was just down the road from Chapel Hill. It's like, well, they had that potential too, and then they got a good coach, right?
Yeah.
But you could say the same thing about there's been crappy schools in the middle of nowhere who did a good job, who you would say don't have a lot of potential, but if you get the right coach in there, they can get the thing done. It's all about the coaching. So are they going to find a good coach who's going to be able to develop guys and stay there? And that's kind of it. So I don't know. I just feel like that potential thing could be labeled to 40% of the programs in Division I wrestling.
Yeah, I don't. It's far better than a top just 40% job in wrestling.
Okay.
I'll die on that hill for sure. Potential, yeah. You have to have the right person to unlock. You needed the right person to unlock the potential at Penn State,
Yes.
a school that was never reached that close of success that they had. I mean, that's an understatement, right?
Unlock the potential at Cornell.
He unlocked Rob Cole unlocked that potential for sure.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, JD, that's a great example of someone who said they don't have great potential. It's a crap place to live, middle of nowhere, New York. It's an Ivy, hard to get kids into, no scholarships, right? And you can go down the list, and there's a whole bunch of things. But Rob Cole did a great job, made it happen. I mean, that would be a school who did not have a ton of potential, and Rob Cole made them a really, really elite wrestling program.
Ithaca's a crap place. It's cold.
Ithaca's a crap place. Do you really want to live there?
Well, not particularly, but I wouldn't be.
Dude, tell the truth.
Well, I wouldn't lament it if I were there. It's not the worst.
Okay.
It's a nice little town.
Where's the worst place to live? Worst D1.
Bro, I'll tell you right now.
State?
Oh, I'm not going to say that. No.
What's the worst one? There's got to be a worst one. There's got to be one that this is the worst place to live.
Well, I'll just tell you this. When we drove to Colorado Springs, we went kind of northwest. Texas is, man, most of Texas is not a place you would want to live. It was desolate and horrible. I was like, man, living in Austin, it was right near Dallas, right near Houston, in Austin, San Antonio. There's nowhere else you really want to be unless you're at South Padre or something. Not great. So I was thinking, and I was like,
but there's no D1s over there, Christian. So you got to answer the question.
Unless you want to be Rich Oilman.
I'm not gonna say the worst division.
Why not?
Well, maybe what I'll say. Where would I just not want to live? It's
Give
not
me
that
some
it's a
crap
bad place.
places. Buffalo, too much snow. Don't want to live there.
I would not.
I would probably take a lot of snow over more extreme cold weather. A la like a North
Fargo?
Dakota. Yeah. And it's windy in the winter there too.
Yeah. I'm not playing this game. I did not agree to this game, and I'm not going to say the worst division.
This is a fun game to play. We should play it. You guys, Flo should make a poll. You should do a bracket. Which place would you least like to live of all the Division Ones in the United States?
That would really endear us.
There's
to
also
those
a lot of
schools.
other factors besides if we're just talking straight up town.
No, we're talking straight up location. That's
straight up location.
Crime rate.
Well, so some people might hate cities, right? So then for those people, they would vote out, say, Columbia. There's no way in hell they're going to live in New York City. Not going to happen.
Man, the idea of, Ben, can you imagine if you had your whole family living in New York City? To me, that would be just the most annoying thing to live in.
As a family, not good.
Oh, brutal. If it was just me or me and Katie, that'd be one thing, but yeah, so that would be for me. The prestigious Ivy League University in New York. I would not want to live there.
You're thinking the easy way out.
But if I were a college kid, Manhattan sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, sounds cool.
So I don't know. I'm not playing this game. I don't even want to be around it
Oh,
anymore.
that's a fun game to play. Hey, you want to know? One of my stupid theories about wrestling? But North Carolina puts it off.
Okay.
Okay, one of the reasons why Pennsylvania is so great is they have, and they've had more in the past. There've been a few that have dropped, but I believe they still have 14 Division I colleges, right?
Yeah.
So if you have 140 varsity spots of wrestling, and then obviously, inevitably, some of that population is going to go coach or teach or whatever, right? As they graduate and get older, you're going to have a lot of high-level wrestlers influencing younger generations, and there's going to be a plethora of them. So that would therefore mean, Pennsylvania's the best, right? And so certain other, Ohio has, I believe, 5, but North Carolina has 7 Division I's, and they're still not very good. Virginia has 6 Division I's. They're still not very good.
I beg your pardon.
They're not very good. How many Fargo All-Americans they have?
I don't know. I can't count that high.
That one. So my theory about Pennsylvania does not hold up when you apply to other states.
Yeah, it's
North
coaching.
Carolina or Virginia.
It's coaching, and that's why Texas isn't. If you have good coaches, you'll be a lot better, and if you don't, if it's your football coaches are coaching all the high school kids,
Yeah.
that's a big problem. So,
But do you think the Division I wrestlers from North Carolina and Virginia move back other places, or like why do you think they don't stay there and coach in mass?
well, one thing that may be true is if you go from, if you're from if you wrestle in Pennsylvania, there's probably a good chance you're from Pennsylvania. If you wrestled at, Franklin, Marshall, Bucknell, or even Penn State,
Yeah.
a higher probability you're from that state. Whereas there's less of a probability that you're actually from North Carolina, which means you're.
There's a good chance you're from Pennsylvania if you're wrestling in North Carolina.
Yeah. So you maybe
Then
just go back home there. But yeah, you're right. It hasn't really improved
Trickled down.
yet, and it takes a while.
Okay.
So open an
Coleman
AWA
Scott
down there.
to Oklahoma State. I told you, I think he's crazy. Leaving a head job for a head assistant, and obviously the beautiful Chapel Hill, which I've never been to, but I have heard it's nice. For Stillwater, that's a tough trade right there.
Well, let's get into that because there's so much discussion about, okay, is this an heir apparent type of job? Is that what this means? Does this mean that Coleman Scott is the next head coach at Oklahoma State? And if it is, Ben, then I think you would say, okay, probably a smart move. This is obviously Coleman's dream job. He's made no secret about that. So if that's the case, for all we know, he got a raise, right? We can find that out. It's entirely possible.
I don't think he got a raise, but even if the pay were to go down,
Cost of living.
Cost of living is probably like half or less, right, in Stillwater. So I remember when I was considering Mizzou a handful of years back, and I looked at the cost of houses down there. I'm like, damn, like Wisconsin's not even that expensive, and I can get like a double as big house for the same price. This is crazy. So from Chapel Hill to Stillwater, you could probably get like a mega mansion for the same price you get a small house for in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, that is possibly true as well. So yeah, I think I would imagine from a resource perspective, if I had to guess, at worst it's like even. I wouldn't be surprised if he's making more.
You think so?
I just said I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not.
But
I'm
the
not,
UNC
I'm not
job
giving-
had to pay well. Let's see. Coleman Scott. What else happened? Coleman Scott's salary?
Sure. Yeah.
Probably have to go to the public.
This is where we need Kozak.
page.
Kozak's got to be weighing in here. He's our.
Someone in the chat Google
the
it.
UNC directory page or whatever. You can probably find it if they're technically a public university.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think I got it. Coleman Scott overview, coach. Wow. This is 2017. In 2017, he was making 120. I gotta assume it's went up since then, because you're right. If it's 120, then I would say he's probably making that much.
Yeah, for sure he is.
But this is 27. That's 6 years ago. So.
Yeah. But it ain't like it's. I mean, I'd be surprised if it got up like 80 to 2. And I wonder what what was Espo at? That would probably be a good gauge too, because it's basically that job.
Let's do that.
And then we're gonna air your financials next, Ben.
You know, I've looked at my financials online, and they are not right. You're right. Look at this. In 2018, Zach was making 140. Damn it, Christian, you're right.
Yeah, bro.
2018, Zach was making 141.
Yeah. So, would not be surprised if it's a pay increase. So, okay, Matt, say it out loud. Pay increase, dream job.
All
Even
right.
if here's the other thing.
Is there a guarantee he gets the head job at Oklahoma State? I think the answer to that is no.
I think the answer to that is no. I don't think there's a guarantee.
Okay.
That's based on my understanding of the other candidates that were reached out to. It didn't sound like that was part of the deal. But think about it from Coleman's perspective. Like, it's your dream job. You want this job, right?
Yeah.
Is coming to Oklahoma State going to put you in a better position to potentially get it?
Yes.
Absolutely it is. So it's strategic, and if it knocks you up a couple of percentage points and more likelihood of getting it, then it's a worthwhile job. And Coleman's been looking for a while. He threw his hat in the ring at Oklahoma, so he's been considering leaving UNC for a bit. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think there's a good chance he is the next head coach at Oklahoma State. What I don't think is that there's some guarantee in writing that he will be. But either way, I think smart move. His wife. Well, first of all, he went there. His wife's from Oklahoma, so I think there's a lot of reasons the move makes sense.
Too.
Yeah,
He's a cowboy.
he is a cowboy through and
He's
through.
a cowboy. And there is something very special about the place you went to college.
Of course,
For sure. Yeah.
of course. If Brian said, "Hey, I'm handing you the keys. Missouri's yours."
He tried to bring me back a few times. I almost went.
Bring you back, but he's the head coach. If he said,
I know, with obviously a guarantee that I would be the coach within a relatively short window.
And
It's
he
been a
didn't
while.
At what point do you want to be a college coach? Never?
None. When I turned that one, I mean, that was a long 5, 6, 7 years ago. The last time it was like 3 times, and I always felt bad because I love Coach Smith. He's so awesome. And so one of the times it was like the pay was nothing. It was like I was making more in one fight than I would for an entire year of coaching, and I'm like,
Flex.
and I was still kind of like early on and I would say in my prime, and I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm not done with this thing yet, and I can't go do that, and the pay definitely can't justify my making that move. And then the last time was, dude, it was hard. I almost said yes. I almost left, but it was like, well, me and Max got this thing in Wisconsin going. It's going really well. My mom's, we're living 2 miles from my mom, and she loves all of our kids, and those 2 things were probably the biggest ones, And then it's just like, I really, really like what I'm doing, and I like the freedom that I have with the academies. That was so. Yeah, but it was hard. It was hard because I love Columbia, Missouri, and I love the Missouri Tigers. So it was very difficult.
What if Coach Smith said, "Ben, we got a place for you and your mom 2 miles from your house. Perfect location. Your mom's coming too." Then what?
I mean, honestly, Amy and I had that conversation of like, did we just tell my mom like, hey, we'll pay you're coming with,
Yeah.
But then it was like, but then I'm screwing my brother, right? Because now I'm leaving and my mom's leaving. I even thought of some extreme stuff, Christian. I thought of like, getting my own small plane to be able to commute back and forth and wild stuff like that.
Man, I don't like the idea of you in a small plane.
I almost got my pilot's license.
Bro.
Like Wyatt Hendrickson.
Okay, Seth Mendoza. Don't give
I
me...
did.
No.
I was halfway there and the damn instructor left town and they didn't get another instructor.
Dang. Can't learn how to fly in Wisconsin.
That was when I was in college in Mizzou.
Oh, okay. Well, that would have been fun. Man, did you ever meet our guy, John Michael Zach, when he worked here?
Yeah, I remember him.
This dude, so he doesn't work at Flow anymore, but he works for another company, and they were flying. He said they had to do like an emergency landing, and they fly in these little freaking planes. And he was telling the story like he was like having to come to terms with like potentially like dying on this little private plane thing. It had a propeller. God. So I'm trying to do anything I can to make him never get in that plane again. But he's like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Those little planes are scary. No, I'm not even gonna say it. Moving on. Oklahoma State. And here's the other thing. Like everyone is talking about John and retirement and everything, and I understand, but he's 58. It's not like he's,
really?
He's not 72. He's not that.
58's kind of old though. How many college coaches are older than the age of 58?
I would say there's probably, what do you think, 8, 10?
So probably less than 10%, maybe.
Division head coaches.
Yeah, head coaches, of course. There's some, but
Tom Borelli, I
I feel
is.
like the intensity of the job is higher than a normal job, so very few hang on to like, 65 would be a really, really old college wrestling coach.
Like how old's Tom Ryan?
He's definitely not 58. He's way younger than John. Like 52.
Yeah, he wrestled Pat.
Yeah. Well, I think you know what I think. You know what I wonder why some college coaches don't do as they get older is like maybe take a step back and say like, hey, I still kind of want to be around and I kind of like this, but I don't want to be in charge anymore because it's just too hard. Let me take a step back. I'll be the second assistant, and I'll take care of all all this
Like
stuff. 'Cause I've been
Gable.
doing this for 25 years, so it's not as hard for me anymore. And I'll let you guys run the program. Like I'm kind of surprised more coaches don't do that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it would be so valuable to have like this wise old sage. If you're a 35-year-old guy, to have this guy who's been doing it and who knows how to work with administration and has done so many things, it would be so valuable to have them around.
So I would say, I don't know what I would say. Oh yeah, I know. I think it's tough. If you're the guy that follows the guy, if he's around, that's tough, right? Because
Why? No, it's not. Have a relationship with him. Be grateful that you have a resource like that.
yeah,
That's ego. That's ego talking. We got to get rid of that ego. It ain't productive.
I'm not sure about age, but John Smith, along with Tom Borelli, have been at their current institutions the longest.
Ooh,
They were
Borelli's
both
old.
hired
That's a good
in
one.
1991.
Yeah. I would say Mark Manning's got to be close to John Smith.
Oh, yeah.
also.
Mark Manning
That
was
would be
hired at
one I would
Nebraska in
think of.
2000 as head coach.
But I can't think of anyone older like those. That would be the three, and I can't really think of anyone older than that. I think everyone
I
else
guess
is younger.
it's a good point.
Maybe there's a couple.
Yeah, I mean, J-Rob was older, but he hasn't been a coach for 6-7 years now, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
it's been a minute.
Yep. Okay. So that's that. We're kind of telling you what we know or think, and we'll see how long John remains and what it means for Coleman. But I think it's a smart move for Coleman, or I understand it, at least I'll say. And then we'll see on the UNC front. That's a
Yeah.
In my opinion, it can be a top 10 program, team that finishes in the top 10. I think they can do the things that Virginia Tech and NC State have done. I believe that. That's its potential. But
Yes, I agree with that.
those teams have it rolling, and along with another thing I was going to push back, like you said, it's a good school, not a great school. Them or Michigan are the number one public schools in America.
Really?
Every year. They flip flop. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
UNC's that good? Better than
Yes.
say Wisconsin's supposed to be really good at academics. Are they better than Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Really?
I believe so. That's what I was told this weekend by a coach that would
Okay.
definitely know that.
The University of North Carolina
Duke's
Chapel
not
Hill
public, huh?
admissions is most selective
No.
with an acceptance rate of 19% and an early acceptance rate of 25.7%, according to U.S. News and World Report.
UNC. Okay. Anyway,
Dang.
in 22 it was fifth among national public.
Okay. So yeah.
That's good.
But obviously, that does negate because there are quite a few Ivy League schools that do support wrestling.
Yes, but okay, think about the concession there. There's some Ivy League.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can get into there's harder schools to get into, but apart from Cornell and now Penn, it's like there's a wrestling trade-off there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Harvard's had some successful people in the past. Brown really hasn't had anyone who's very good. Who else?
I mean, there's Columbia, Brown,
Columbia's
Harvard,
had a few successful guys.
but it's been a long time for Harvard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. It's fair.
So,
Good old Jesse Jansen with that crab ride, baby.
whew, he was good. JP O'Connor, undefeated
Oh, yeah.
national champion, 157, 2010, I think. He's a beast. Okay. Justin Hampton says Navy is the number one public school in the country. All right.
Is that true?
Is it public? I guess
not.
I guess technically it is public.
I mean, what qualifies as... yeah.
I mean, it's a literal branch of, it's the military, so it feels public.
It's not a university, though.
What is it? Oh, what? Because it doesn't have 4-year or master's programs?
No, it's because it's a service academy.
Yeah.
That's also true. But then you don't pay for it. So then you have like
You don't pay
permanent
nothing.
all scholarships.
Bro, we toured the Air Force Academy. I was like, secretly hoping, I was like, man, I wonder if the kids would get into this idea. Like, I don't know, but man.
You want to talk about hard to get into? That's
like
very
being a
hard to get
military
into.
man?
Yeah. But they're freaking smart. I mean,
You literally like need a letter from the senator. Or
you think
something.
I got senators lined up to send letters, JD. Don't worry about that part. The hardest part, it will be them committing to that life, I think.
And you gotta do what, 5 years of service afterwards also.
Yeah.
But you get paid your junior and senior. Your last 2 years you do get paid.
Yeah, I saw an AWA guy. What's that guy's name? Jack?
Jack Ganos, baby.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah, great,
honestly, it was a great experience. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show, but like, it's like if you wonder where all like the nice, respectful, good kids are, they're all there. Like every kid you ran into, and not just on the wrestling team. It's just like this, like these are the people you want your kids around. That's what I was thinking that whole time. Katie had the same
Right.
impression too. Great place, and I'm sure Army and West Point and Naval Academy are both similar. These are our best. Anyway, enough Air Force Radio Live. Where do we want to go next?
They've done this
Air
rabbit
Force
hole of
Radio
acceptance
Live.
rates.
He's looking at
The University of Florida. That is shocking to me.
It's a good school.
That is shocking to me.
Yep.
No way. It's
I had
impossible.
a friend that went there, and I was like, "That's a good school." He's like, "Yeah, it's really hard to
Speaking
get
of
into."
which, Swamp Monsters, the Netflix Untold, comes out today, I believe. It might already be out.
Swamp Monsters is what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's on the Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez,
Riley Cooper,
Yep.
Percy Harvin from
that
Virginia.
era.
That was quite an era.
Years.
You should watch that. You know what else you should watch, Ben?
What's up?
Have you seen the movie Cleaver?
Cleaver? Scott Cleaver?
No, Cleaver. Look, it's on my mug here. Yeah.
Never seen that.
It's kind of a mix between Goodfellas and Saw.
Ooh,
it-
I don't know about that. I'm not into that type of movie.
It's Christopher Moltisanti's first movie.
I don't know him either.
You don't?
No.
Okay, fine. Well, you should check
Don't
it
turn
out.
your nose up at me, snob.
At least Google it. No, I'm not being a snob. I'm just surprised you haven't heard of. I mean, it's his first. I mean,
No.
one of the Baldwins is in it. He plays the lead. I think it may even be Billy. So you should look into it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, so Ramos is the acting interim head coach, but they're doing a nationwide search. Do you think they're going to get good candidates, or will Tony Ramos get the job?
well, that's kind of a brutal blow to Tony. Will they get good candidates?
Okay, well,
or
you know what? Actually, my wife yelled at me for saying something like this the other day. Sometimes, I don't say things properly, right? I won't tell you what I said the other day in front of someone else, but I said, okay, Tony's a good candidate. Are they going to get other good candidates that
Yes.
are qualified for the job? And if so, will one of those candidates be better than Tony? that more fair?
There will be good candidates,
We
100%.
talked about it. It's a good position.
It's a great job. It's a great job. They're going to get really good candidates for sure.
Okay.
I think it will be hard for.
Who's the best candidate right now who's not a head coach somewhere else?
That's not a head coach somewhere else.
That's a tough one, right?
I mean,
I was actually,
there's the obvious Casey and Cody.
they ain't leaving.
But they don't
Ignore them.
count.
They're
But
not
they don't
leaving.
count.
It's hard to know
I
because
was
if they're not
actually
a head coach, how good of a coach are they?
Well, it's an unknown. But who would it be?
Well, hold on. Let me interject something real quick.
Jared
I was
Frayer.
actually, someone.
I'd say
someone's
Jared
kinda-
Frayer.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that.
I agree.
But someone was asking me about this. They asked me this question the other day, and I think there's so many guys who are competing longer in wrestling, and it was just weird because there's this weird time gap where it wasn't really happening, say prior to we'll say 2016. So a bunch of these guys who graduated right around say like 2012 through through moving forward have now committed to wrestling kind of like permanently or for a really long time. Therefore, less of them are being assistant coaches like right now, And so it's going to be a weird gap. At some point, they're obviously all going to retire, and then likely a bunch of them will go into coaching. But there's this weird gap where there feels like maybe there's not a ton of great candidates because of that.
Certainly the Kyle Dakes, David Taylor, Jordan Burroughs in a previous generation,
Rutherford, Oliver, etc.
They would all find their way into college coaching, a generation or so ago.
Yeah.
Typically. Yeah, I think so, but I don't think there's a shortage of quality coaches. Maybe there are. I don't think so. But yeah, you could be right. You could definitely be right. And I'm curious to see in like 10, 15 years from now, what of those legends do eventually make their way to Division I ranks? Or do they all kind of do the David Taylor thing, just like have a club full of hammers? And
I don't think so. I mean, I'll tell you, because running the club business, while there's a potential to be profitable, it's way harder to make money doing this than it is doing that. I mean, Pat Popolizio is made. There's a lot of these. Someone's put Pat Pop's making 300. I think Brian Smith's somewhere the same. Like, I don't think you can make that much money with a singular academy. Be that profitable. I think it's impossible. Maybe I'm wrong. I won't. But I know the economics pretty well, and I think that's impossible. So it is hard to make that really, really high-end money, and then if obviously you do multiple sites, then you're adding other difficulties like managerial duties and et cetera, right? So you do get more freedom. There's a positive side to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and then on the other side, it's like it's easier. Like you just get a paycheck. You don't got to be an entrepreneur and start from scratch and have a bunch of hard years. You just get, an assistant coach. We saw Espo's making 140. Like that's a really good living. Here's your job, boom, and then you work your way up, and there you go.
Yeah. So I'm hoping. I mean, I just think it would be fun to imagine Kyle and David and Jordan like coaching in the Division I ranks. I know Jordan has been openly like, I'm not going to. I don't want to coach college. Like,
yeah,
I think his time just around Nebraska after graduating and being there for so long, and with Brian, he kind of got to observe, but not be super involved with the various headaches of college coaching. He's like,
he tried coaching for like a year.
He did 1 year. I think it was like the 13-14 year or 14-15. I'll never forget. I was like, he was obviously a World Olympic champion. He's the best wrestler in the world at that point in time. I remember it was like the scuffle or something, and he's just sitting there at a match. And he's doing the iPad for the match. I was like, what is happening? Jordan
Burroughs iPad like recording film or what?
Yeah, he was doing the film for this. I was like, what? I'll never forget that. I was like,
hey.
Obviously, Jordan's not above that, but
champion.
Don't be above that. Sometimes you got to mop the mats, Christian.
And of course he's not, but it was still just strange to me. Like he's at the height of his powers and he's filming this on an iPad. Like that was just, it just stuck out. I mean, and Dake's been on staff a couple different times at Cornell over the years. I think there was a time both Dake and Burroughs were coaching.
I think so.
Jordan might be too busy fighting David Taylor.
What the heck?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Listen, that seems perfect to me.
Does it?
Yeah, if they both want to have one fight. They want to have a fight. Seems like they do, right? And they only want to do one. They don't want to make a career out of it. It doesn't seem like, just go fight each other. Because say you really want Jordan fighting a nobody for his one fight, and the answer to that's no, you don't, right? That's lame and boring and probably too easy for him. Kind of like Bo Nichols' early fights, too easy for him. And then what big name is going to say, hey, I want to take on this really, really uber elite wrestler? Like, that's not going to happen, right? So who is he going to fight? And so if they both want one fight and not make a career of it, it really makes a lot of sense for them to fight each other.
I mean, sign me up to watch.
I mean, I will watch because how could I not? But also, I don't want that. It's like, how about this? Here's a crazy idea. It's crazy. It's a little off the wall.
Okay.
How about you wrestle each other? Because the last time
they already did that,
and it was great. Why would I don't want to see?
Christian, what about what they want? They want to have a fight.
Yeah, I'm talking about what I want. Yeah, they may want to fight.
Stop being selfish.
I want to watch them do what they're best at. Just like I want to watch Gable Steveson do real wrestling. Yeah, that's what he's best at.
Why can't they do other things if they want to?
I'm not saying.
They're not saying I want to leave wrestling forever. They're just saying I want one fight.
Ben, I'm not saying what they can and can't do. Don't.
Let them have some fun.
They can do whatever the heck they want. I'm saying what I want. I don't want to see that.
CP's a traditionalist.
Not once.
I like the freak show
once,
stuff.
You're not
Sign
saying
me
you
up.
can't see it just once.
I will watch. I've already said I'll watch. I'm watching.
Okay.
I'll watch them arm wrestle. That's irrelevant. I'm a degenerate. I'll watch anything. But I would rather watch them wrestle. I'm allowed to have a preference, and I'd rather watch them wrestle because they're two of the best that have ever lived to do it. And I've seen them do it a couple times, and it was great. So I'd love to see it again. Whereas I don't want to see the Muay Thai of Jordan Burroughs or the Jiu-Jitsu of David Taylor. I don't care about that. I want to see them wrestle each other.
Okay, I understand. I fully understand what you're saying.
You don't get
But
it.
let's deal with the reality. They have both said, I would like to fight. And I just walked you through, like, the possibility of their opponents. Like, they're either going to have to start out with a person who's not very good, kind of a nobody. And they're going to be way better than them, right? It's not going to be competitive. Or they have to fight someone really good who's got a big name. But who's going to sign up for that? Who's going to say, I want to fight David Taylor and he's going to take me down 27 times and smother me? They don't want to do that. Come
For
on.
sure will.
The reason it is actually interesting to me is because of the unknown. We know how good they are at wrestling. They're the best in the world.
Yes.
But are they that good at MMA?
Are they that good at basketball?
jiu-jitsu?
Let's see.
Well, we're
Let's
never really
let's
gonna
roll
know
out a
the answer to
basketball,
that
Ben.
question fully, JD, because in order to answer that question, we'd have to see them do it for a
Right.
while. You know, like with a Bo Nickel, and this is Bo's going through this process. In the beginning, you got to fight all these kind of nobodies, right? Guys who aren't very good, and it's a mismatch. Like Bo's just so elite at what he does, it's not going to be competitive, right?
Fights that guy who's eating Reese's cups or whatever. What did
But
that
even
guy say?
now, Bo is like what? He's 6-0 or 7-0. Like the top guys still aren't signing up. They're gonna say, "Nah, he ain't ranked. He's new. I'm not fighting him." So it's probably still gonna take Bo, and they're moving Bo fast, right? But it's still probably gonna take another, I don't know, 2, 3, 4. So now we're talking about 10 fights to get to, a really highly ranked opponent. Like Jordan Burroughs and David Taylor, if they both want one fight, it makes perfect sense for them to fight each other.
Okay.
It's so perfect. Let's just do it. But now here's the but. I would love to see Dana White promote it or some other major promoter. And, I think One Championship has done this type of thing because I don't want to see these two dudes fight on some small show where there's 500 people in the crowd. Because that ain't right for them, right? These are special, very special wrestling people. I don't want to see them fight in a sold-out 20,000-seat arena somewhere. That's what I want to see.
Do it at NCAAs before the finals.
Think the ESPN would let us?
After the finals.
Kind of a great idea.
20,000 fans. Who's leaving?
There's no way ESPN will let us do that.
I don't know. ESPN, UFC. If UFC's behind it, they're.
UFC.
Oh, there
hired
UFC
CM Punk.
promotes. That's not. Listen, now you're thinking. These are great ideas, Christian. UFC does a very small card right before the NCAA finals. You get maybe Bo Nickel in there, but then they can't control their own gate because the NCAA is taking the gate for the. We need two 20,000 seat stadiums next to each other.
There's lots of those. There's lots of those. Globe Life in Arlington and Jerry World. They should have NCAAs.
Battle at the ballpark. Real
Yeah.
battle at the ballpark.
Yep. All right. That's cool.
I mean, if you guys knew what you're doing, you guys would try to sign them right now.
Lock him in
David
while it's hot.
Jordan, sign with Flo to do this fight. But then if you guys don't do it right, if you guys don't build this up, I'm gonna be really mad at you guys.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to see
I'll
it.
commentate.
Oh,
Wow. Ben's on. I would love
Well, you guys
that.
don't have an MMA commentator, so I'll be your guy.
You'd be perfect.
Put Bader in with me.
You and Chael.
Oh, there we go. Chael, do it. He's
Yeah.
in.
That'd be great.
Ben, would you have switched? You probably answered this before, but would you have switched to MMA if you were making a better living just wrestling, or did you have
I
that
don't think
itch
so.
to get into the ring, like Jordan is
Well,
talking about?
I think I feel the way these guys feel. I think they're like, hey, I like combat. That'd be fun. That was a natural thought for me and for them, right? They're having this feeling, but I also really loved wrestling. I love it, But so it's like I was looking forward and saying, well, I can't make a living doing this. I'm gonna have a wife and kids, and I'm only so poor that I can't do nothing. So I'm gonna go do something where I can actually make some money. And I actually enjoyed it, right? Naturally, like they would, right? If someone said you can't wrestle anymore, you have to do something else, like they would enjoy fighting. But no, if I was making a reasonable living, like I don't think I ever would have left. And that was why I said I said that earlier with that coaching, like generationally. It wasn't until after Jordan. I don't know if Jordan was a pioneer or if it was just kind of a myriad of factors that happened. But prior to Jordan, people couldn't wrestle as a living.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they couldn't do that for really long periods of time, maybe for a handful of years. And maybe they were also an assistant coach, but they weren't just a wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if we can pull it in, but did you take this picture of Shane Sparks' van?
No, I found this van on the highway. I was in Michigan at the D-Glow, and I saw that van, and I'm like, stop, I need a picture of this van.
You did take the
I
picture.
the person driving the car, driving the same speed as the van, because I needed a great picture of it.
That is incredible. I don't know if we can show it, but if we can.
It's up.
Oh, my gosh.
Seriously, how
Just
amazing is
listening,
this?
it is a large black Ram van with an airbrush paint job of Roadhouse.
It's got Patrick
It's so
Swayze,
awesome.
and then what was the name of the old guy?
I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember.
They made him look like really young and majestic with the good flow on the right. But yeah, that's where Shane Sparks when he's going to duels,
Wade.
when he's got a Friday, Sunday in Wisconsin and in Minnesota, he's getting around in the Roadhouse van. That's how he's traveling.
And the best part is it's like airbrush, like those T-shirts you get at the fair.
I'm like so surprised JD hasn't rolled up with a shirt with this airbrushed on it.
It's true.
I
I want one.
almost got you a really cool shirt.
We should make this shirt for Shane.
He would wear it. We should get. I wonder if they could airbrush like a button-up shirt, like have a button-up shirt with like Swayze and the old guy just says Roadhouse on it. He would love it. If he had a Vision Quest one, he would wear that on the broadcast.
Did you see this Vision Quest poster from Australia or the UK that somebody sent us?
No.
Shane wants it.
Of course he wants it. The best.
Oh, I saw that. And that you're talking about, it's in the comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's do some
But
questions.
wait, can we read what it says on this poster?
Yeah.
Loudon Swain has two
Wow,
things
I
on
did
his
not
mind.
read the poster.
The
Hold on, let him
6'4"
read it.
champion he has to wrestle. Which, listen, they're 160 pounds or whatever. That dude ain't 6'4", for one, right? And the 5'2" brunette he wants to.
Oh my gosh. That is so corny. The movie.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's very fitting for the movie.
It's so fitting. Very on brand. No denying that. What a bad movie. You
And it's
fools.
called Crazy for You.
Yeah. Not Vision
Weird.
Quest. That would have been such a stupid name for the movie.
So
All right.
stupid.
Questions. I want to do them. What NCAA team this year has the biggest potential but could also bust?
Probably Oklahoma State.
You see, so talk to me about their potential. What do you see?
Well, like they could throw someone like Braden Thompson was the #1 recruit, and how is he going to be at the college level? I don't know. Maybe he's really good. Maybe he's not. I'm not certain, you know. And I think they have a few guys that I feel that way about.
What do you think about Spratley?
Sam. I think he could be really good, but I could see a scenario where he's not that good. You know, it's like we don't know how good he is at the NCAA level. He won a few tough matches last year, but as a full-time D1 guy, we're not sure.
I am going to say the University of Iowa because if their lineup is their lineup right now, they will be very good. If they are imposed gambling sanctions like has been rumored and actually self-reported for a long time, their lineup could be very different. So
Yeah. I'll say one, I'm going to presume that all their wrestlers will wrestle this year. I feel like Ohio State's a good one because honestly, just look at last year. Like they struggled all last year, right? And then they good Big Tens, great NCAAs, and they got a trophy.
Yeah,
but like
that's
this,
true.
They lost some duels. They had an abysmal CKLV. Like it looked bad, but then they kind of wrestled up to their potential. But the inverse could also happen with a team
Well,
like that. They could,
and to the point I made about Oklahoma State, they have a guy like Nick Feldman. Like, how, he was out because of injury. How's he going to come back? Because I mean, we were all thinking this is a guy who's going to challenge for an NCAA title, and we didn't really see him at all last year.
yeah. I'll say Michigan is a team with a lot of potential. Michael
Really?
D'Agostino could win NCAAs. You got Chris Cannon.
Davidson.
You
But
got
I'm saying, why would you say downside there? Because we've seen all these guys who've already done the thing, so we don't have to really worry about them. And you know what I'm saying? We don't say well.
How did Cannon and
they're not very good at
D'Agostino
all.
do this last year?
What'd you say?
How did Cannon and D'Agostino do at NCAAs last year?
Not as good as the previous year.
Poor. So there's volatility there with those two guys. Shane Griffith.
Well, they were just okay. So hold on, can I push back on that? I feel like there were guys at the NCAA level, unless you're say a solid top 3 or top 4 guy. That lots of times, hey, we should do tiers at some point. But the 5 through 15 is semi-interchangeable, and I feel like that's kind of one of my arguments on the NCAA point scoring is a guy. If they get the right draw and they get an All-American and they finish 6 or 7, that's big points. If they finish around 12, it's potentially no points.
Well, that's the whole point of the
minimal.
question. It's the potential.
Okay, fair.
But fair. It could also bust. That's why it's actually a perfect example. Right. Shane Griffith, he's a title contender typically, right? But he's had some variance in his performance, and he'll be at Michigan this year. So yeah. I think they're definitely a team. I'm trying to think of some.
Hey, can I ask you a question quick here? Are we going overtime? Because I have 5% left in my battery. If we're not going overtime, I think I'm gonna be good. But if we're going past 9:30, I should probably run and get my charger.
I think we'll be done right around 9:30.
Okay.
Okay. Next question: if Aussie Man Strongboy fell in shark-infested water, how long would it take for Ben to jump in?
Obviously, I'm getting in there. But,
okay.
Well, at that point, you probably don't even have the time to be scared.
Yeah, your instincts kick in. Yeah. Someone got devoured in Egypt in the ocean by a shark recently. Yeah. The Real Avery Lynch, what happened to the Commando movie review? Okay, so I think on this Thursday,
I forgot about that.
We're going to set the tone. We're going to say, hey, Shane, can you commit to next Thursday? Can we commit to next Thursday?
I will be somewhere on the road.
We're going to find a date to commit to, and we're going to write it down, and we're going to say it out loud on the show, and we're going to do a Commando review, and it's going to be awesome. Commando is perfect for this. When do we have the full Who's Number 1 card? It's 2 weeks away. That is true. Don't we have that? We have it, right?
Hey, we've released a lot of matchups. I don't know if it's the full...
No heavyweight match. I know that.
Oh, boo!
Did we release this?
Okay, let's see. Well, I actually was thinking this last night, and I almost texted you, and then I forgot about it.
All right. I'm going to start reading matchups that I think are happening.
Okay.
So, Conor Mirasola, Aiden Sinclair. We know about that one.
Let's do that.
William Hinkle, Joe Seeley. Rematch. Yep. Anthony Knox, Leo DeLuca, Pure Fire. Cody Merrill, Sawyer Bartle. Christian Castillo, Paul Kenny. Kyle Larkin, Ben Davino. Daniel Zepeda, Bo Bassett. Ty Ice, Angelo Ferrari. Jax Forrest, Jordan Rady. Colin Rath, Pearson Manville.
Wait, so I felt like there was a whole bunch of matches at say 126 through 138. Can you read me the weight classes? The Bassett one, the Forrest one, the Zepeda one.
126 is Forrest Rainey.
Okay.
138 is Bassett Zepeda.
Bo Bassett's 138?
Yeah, boy.
Is he actually that big, or is he just bumping up so that way he gets a match?
I think he's planning to be bigger. I think this is the plan.
Okay, because he just wrestled 121 at cadets and then 125 at juniors.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's the other one? There was
Larkin Davino is 32.
What about Davino?
32.
That was Kyle Larkin versus Davino.
And then 120 is Knox DeLuca.
Was there one more in there?
There's Paul Kenny Castillo's 13.
That's real small.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Sound like a bunch of fun matches.
Yes, indeed. Tickets are for sale. JD, how do you buy them?
There is a link on our website.
Well, there you go.
I will put it in the description of this episode.
That's what he'll do for you. Please buy tickets. Please come. Should be a good turnout. Wisconsin, you got the #1 Wisconsin matchup in the world.
Maybe.
So it should be sweet. It's 9:30. Ben has 1% battery on his laptop.
I'm at 3 still. I'm at 3. We're good.
Wow. What a beastly laptop you have.
Great computer.
We thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back Thursday, just 2 days from now, doing this show again. Special thanks to Ben, JD, and you for hanging with us. What's on your middle finger?
I was going to write Commando down. I have a dry erase board on this side of my desk. Let's see if you guys can see it.
Yup.
Right there. I was going to write it down because I was like, okay, but it's Thursday. I really got to remember to do this because that's only 2 days away. And he said next Thursday. I'm like, okay.
Okay, answer your phone. I'm going to find out what... Answer your phone. I'm going to find out what coach doesn't want AWA kids.
I'll call me.
All right, thanks so much, guys.
They had a reasonable response, you know?
Oh, okay.
Reasonable.
Maybe they got their reasons. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.